Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode. We have a very exciting guest, but real quickly, for those of you joining the podcast for the first time, we are Nexvia AI and specialize in helping business leaders scale their revenue. So if you want to learn how to take your business to the next level, just make sure to stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth consultation, just drop us a word, growth, in the DMs. But let's get back to Ruby. Today's guest is Ruby George, the founder of, is it United Grid League? I think I saw it without the United somewhere. So okay, United Grid League. Is what impressed me is that Ruby Ann is your brother, right? I think you guys
Yes.
co-founded this.
Yes.
Redefining really what competitive fitness looks like. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of misunderstanding about what it is, but we'll get into it. But I love that it's just about bringing together athletes and spectators and communities in a way that's feels both thrilling and accessible. So let's appreciate you joining me today, Ruby.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, well, let's get to it. So, why don't we first maybe describe a little bit about what United Grid League is, so that people understand?
Yeah, so United Grid League is a race-based sport of large co-ed teams, and it's set up like any other team sport. So it's a regular season playoff championship type
Oh,
structure.
okay,
Teams are going head to head against each other, city-based teams. So you find your city, your nearby team, or you find a player that you love and you're rooting for that team, just like any other sport that
okay,
you grow up with. The
cool.
big difference is that this is a brand new sport. So nobody knows what grid is
Right. Yeah,
outside
we'll
of
get
our own
into
audience.
that.
A lot of people grow up playing football, playing soccer, and so they
Hmm.
grow up learning how to love that professional sport. And we're
Right.
starting from the ground up with even introducing what the sport is at all.
Well,
But
tell
that
us a
being
little bit
said,
about what that
yeah.
is. Yeah.
The sport itself takes basically a wide variety of athletes, puts them together into a team to work towards crossing the finish line first. That's like the main thing that you need
Okay.
to know about the sport is that if you cross the finish line first, you get points. And so you want to try and put your best potential players in the best potential position to do the elements fastest within the race so that your team can cross the finish line first. Um, the team that has the most points at the end of a match will win that match. And so it's all about the points, and you get the points by crossing the finish line. Um, this is kind of like football, where you throw a ball, you catch the ball in the end zone, you get points for,
Okay.
like that's how you get
Yeah.
points. So it's very simple concept. It's very simple. Like most of the time, people we do our matches a lot at like larger fitness expos. So people are just kind of walking by. They have no
Hmm.
idea what they're looking at. They're just like, why are all these people screaming over here? And they'll stop by and they'll start getting into it. And we've
Yeah.
had people say like, I don't even know what I'm screaming for, but I'm yelling because they're getting closer to the finish line and it's really exciting. Anybody can understand what a race is. But
Yeah.
once you start to dive into it a little bit and you start to see what the rules are of each race, how the teams are utilizing their players and what their strengths are, how the strategy matters in who does cross that finish line first, it's a lot like football. Again, you can watch a game and enjoy it just by understanding what a touchdown
Right.
is. But then when you start diving in and you understand how much coaching and strategy and the different positions goes into it, that's when it really unlocks something for you. And that's very, very true. We get the people who understand grid now compare it a lot to football, either playing
Okay.
it or watching it and
Yeah.
loving it. And so that's kind of where we're at in the growth structure. We've spent the last 7 years essentially, you know, proving out how to play the sport itself, how to put on these matches, how to have fair, equitable, with parity in mind teams, all
Hmm.
of that kind of structure,
Cool.
plus proving that the sport itself is just watchable. People will stop and watch this sport if it's on YouTube, if it's in live, if it's on shorts in social media. So we're now at 1.8 million followers across platforms.
Wow.
We have hundreds of millions of views over the course of the year. Our live stream has grown at least 60% year over year. So we've proven that the sport is watchable. And now it's just a matter of, okay, let's get this out to the eyeballs and help people understand how this sport matters, why it matters, and why people will love it.
And how long ago did you start the league?
Our first event was in 2016. Our first season was in
Okay.
2017.
Okay. What was going on back then that made you feel like this was the move to make? Because I know that this is kind of a back, yeah, I mean, a familiar background for you, but like,
Mhm.
why this? Why then?
So my brother and I have been business partners for well over a decade. I think we
That's
started
cool.
in 2008.
Yeah.
We had a marketing and design company prior
Okay.
to working for this, and I was the admin. I was the kind of operator, and he's the designer. He's the creative guy. So we work really well together. Our
Mm-hmm.
strengths complement each other. And so we had actually started working in CrossFit events, putting on CrossFit events with another partner, and
Okay.
had a similar idea of we want to put on a league, we want to have a regular season playoff and championship structure, teams going against each other. And in 2014, we put on our first season and it went really well. We're planning for our second season. And we heard this announcement of somebody was leaving CrossFit, was employee number 3 of CrossFit. His name was Tony Budding. And he said, I have this idea. I'm going to put together this sport of athletes that are on a team, and it's going to be a regular team sport. Like everything he said about it was like, that's our idea, but it's way better. And so we went to the very first initial meeting in Dallas, Texas in 2014, learned about it, and we were kind of like, this is awesome. We want to get involved. And so Tony Budding launched that league. He created the sport. So Mather and I didn't have anything to
Okay.
do with the actual creation of the sport.
Okay.
He invented the rules, the races, everything about it. He launched the league initially in 2014, and Mather and I were team owners of the Miami team in
Okay.
that league. And so we kind of went on this ride with all of the other people that were involved in that league. Essentially ran into financial troubles, leadership issues, just a lot of like growing pains really, really quickly. And it was very much a roller coaster for the 3 seasons that league was around. But during that time where, we were traveling around the country, we were working with elite athletes, the best of the best athletes on our teams. Everyone loved this sport. Everyone, no matter what was happening on the back end and business wise, it was incredible to see
Right.
people say, this is the most fun I've ever had in team sports, or this is the most fun I've ever had watching team sports. We got that all the time. And so in 2016, it was right before the final season of that league, which was called the National Pro Grid League, or the NPGL.
Okay.
Mather and I decided, there's nothing wrong with the sport, it's just the business model. And so we reduced it way down. We launched a grassroots regional league. And so it was called the Florida Grid League at that time. We started in 2017 with 6 teams around the state of Florida. Everyone could drive to their matches. We had held our matches in gyms. It was very grassroots, very, low overhead to start out. And we just really slowly grew it from there. The NPGL had gone down. Everybody was like, the sport didn't work. And we went out to prove that it wasn't.
Right.
The
Yeah.
sport will work. It's just the growth mechanism that needed to change. And so we've been slowly growing since then. In 2024, we rebranded from the Florida Grid League to the United Grid League because players were flying in all over
Okay.
the country. Our audience on social media is global, and so the Florida Grid League just didn't make sense anymore. We actually weren't just in Florida,
Yeah.
and so we
Hmm.
rebranded and immediately had a team go outside of Florida. They were like, "Well, most of our players are in Atlanta, so we're going to be the Atlanta Wild." And then now we have a Houston team, a Las Vegas team, and we signed a New York team
Okay.
as well. So,
Okay. That was going to be one of my questions. So if someone wanted to, let's say they're in, I'm just going to make it Idaho,
mhm,
and they got wind of it, they've been following you, they wanted to create
mhm.
a league. Can they do that?
So the model, the way that it is now, is that we are the national league of grid. If you want to play in the United Grid League, we are taking expansion team applications right now.
Okay.
And so it would be mostly applying to have a team within the league. It's really hard to run a league.
Yeah, sure.
And so we had actually thought about, having multiple leagues around the country and having, groups that
Hmm.
run their leagues. And then Mather and I would kind of be the pinnacle in a national governing body. And we had gone down that road, started getting other groups in other areas to, produce their leagues and start off, and then COVID hit. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
any of the expansion leagues kind of were like, well, they weren't
Yeah.
far enough to really make it. But that's when the Florida Grid League really started to take off. And so we kind of shifted our thought process to, okay, we're going to be actually more like the NFL, where it's just one league for the whole country,
Okay.
of the professional sport. Like eventually, will be a professional sport, and kind of shift from having multiple leagues to just the one pinnacle league and teams around the country.
I mean, what does growth look like for like get your magic wand out 6 to 12 months from now,
Hmm.
like the best thing happens. What is that? Like what are you going for?
Yeah, our goal right now really is to tell the story of the sport in a way that really explains how special it is, how special the players
Hmm.
and the teams are, and tells the story a lot better than we are. I think that's going to be the main goal for until we become a household name, really.
Yeah.
Because like Grid League 1.0 has been like, just getting to the baseline of where we are, and now it's shifting. So we are expanding. We are going to 10 teams next year. We've been at 8 teams since 2018, and so
Okay.
next year will be the first time that we have more teams in the league. And honestly, like our goal is 10. We might go do more than that. But we also want to grow really sustainably. We saw what it was like
Hmm.
when we,
Yeah.
tried to do too
Right.
much too fast. So we do really want to, make sure that we're doing it in a smart way. But outside of, kind of that type of growth, like physical, expansion, we want the opportunity to show who these teams are, what their personalities are, what it's like to be in a house with
Yeah.
men and women living together on the same team, of female coaches coaching male players, of, the locker rooms that are like, what's the game plan going in, and then how does that play out on the grid, and what does it feel like afterwards? All of that kind of storytelling is what our main goal is going to be in the next couple of years.
I mean, why are the athletes living together? Explain that. What's
They're
going
not
on
quite
there?
living together. So a lot of the times, the way that the season works is we will work with existing expos, so fitness expos,
Yeah.
to
Hmm.
have our matches. So all of the teams come to an area. We have 4 matches
Uh,
throughout the day. And
okay.
so, all of the teams get a team house essentially most of the time. They'll stay in hotels or they'll stay in a team house to kind of prepare for their match. Because right now the teams have 4 matches in their regular season. It's not a lot of time. So each match is really, really important.
Hmm.
So they really
Yeah.
prepare for it, and they often have to travel for it. So that's kind of what I
Okay.
meant
I
by
gotcha.
the team
Okay. Yeah.
houses. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's a lot of fun stuff that happens. We'll just
How
say
hard
that.
how hard is it going to be to get to 10 teams? And like, is it just like you turn it on and people are there and it's a piece of cake, or what do you do
We
to
have
grow to that?
9 now. We have one
Yeah.
now. So we really have one more spot available for 2026. And I don't think it'll be too difficult for us. We just ended our 2025 season on Saturday, this past Saturday.
Oh,
And
okay.
so now we're kind of like, okay, now we're going to focus on, who is our 10th team going to be, and how can we really work on telling this story even better.
So you certainly have a very cool story, and it seems like a pretty incredible journey so far. I mean, you definitely have the ups and downs part of that, but like if you could fix one thing in the business right now that's either holding you back or slowing you down to get to where you want to be, what do you think that one thing is?
I think that looking back, for a long time, we wanted to be essentially just, kind of on a very level playing field until we hit that up and to the right, um,
Yeah.
hockey stick. And for us, we've always thought, okay, that could be a major sponsor, like coming in like Reebok did for CrossFit. Like, I see this
Hmm.
vision, I see where you're going, and I
Yeah.
want to be involved in that rocket ship up. And so, we've been working with sponsors since 2021. We've got really, really great feedback. But we have yet to meet that sponsor that is like, I see the vision enough that I'm going to invest more than what you're worth right now because I know that's going to be exponentially more, in a couple
Right.
of years. We have yet to meet that sponsor. Another option, and we've worked with reality show producers before, and we've worked with broadcast, we've had interest from like major broadcasters, sports broadcasters. And that's like another option for us of like that hockey stick of when we're on TV and we can, really capitalize on
Right.
all of that attention. But again, it's like chicken or the egg. And, and so like, I think what I would love to go back and redo is like, what could be our revenue growth model until that allows us to continue to invest more and more into
Right.
what we're doing and invest more into our players, into our teams and things like that, outside of somebody coming to us and understanding what we're doing. Because I think that's what it's still kind of, we're waiting for this rocket ship or like somebody to understand what we're doing. And we've got a lot of interest and we've got a lot of, there's a lot that's great about the business, but we haven't had this like slow revenue growth of something else, something that's completely ours, something that's we are 100% in control of. Because I'll be honest too, even sponsorships, this past year, we took a huge nosedive because of the tariffs. We had about
Because
half
of the what?
the tariffs
Oh.
and the economy. So we had about 75% of our overall budget closed at the beginning of this year. And then half of it evaporated in a month because of the tariffs. They were just like, I can't predict what my business is going to look like, so I can't commit to this year and the sponsorship that we've been talking about. And that was 100% outside of our control. And so that really clicked into me, like, we need to be more in control of our own revenue. We can't wait. We can't rely on other people and what they are going through, which is essentially what sponsorship is. It's really hard to continue to like build that really good relationship. We have such good relationships with our sponsors, and still they were like, I'm so sorry, my entire budget has been cut. There's nothing I can do about it. You're my first phone call when my budget comes back, but I just don't have it right now.
I mean, outside of sponsors, when you talk about having a revenue plan that you own, like where does your revenue outside of sponsors come from now? Do all the players have to
Mhm.
pay something to participate, or how's all that work?
It is currently a pay to play model. And so the players have a fee and the teams have a fee. There is a franchise fee, like an expansion fee for new teams. And then they, reduce down to the normal team fee.
Right.
Again, that's kind of the structure, the way that it's been up until this point. And we know that it's going to change as we start to grow and as these teams, their valuation goes up, the league's valuation goes up, and all of those kinds of things. So, yeah, the teams and the players and their fees, there's some merchandise, there's some ticket sales, there's some
Okay.
social media revenue, things like that. But that's the main three buckets is like the participants and then the sponsorship.
So to have your own, like, since you can't go back and past, to have this revenue plan that you own, like, what would that be? What would that look like?
Um, it's interesting because we've got a lot of different ideas. One of the main things that we've been asked for over and over again is a grid training program. And so, people say, how can I train for this sport? All the time. People ask us. So I think if we had started on that a long time ago and had kind of, grown that along with our reach, I think that we would be I think that could be a major part of our revenue at this point because it is different. Like, if somebody wants to start training for grid, we send them to a CrossFit gym. But then once they've got the fundamentals down, it is different, a different
Right.
way of training for this sport, because this sport is 110% the fastest you can possibly go for 10 to 20 seconds. And then you get out and then you rest, you do nothing, and then you
Okay.
come back out and do something else as
Yeah,
fast as you
interesting.
possibly can. So it's a very different, cycle speed matters, how fat, like cutting a half a second off of each one of your reps is going to be giant in these races because they come down to seconds or milliseconds of who crosses the finish line first. And so, yeah, I think if we had kind of grown this grid training idea or program along with the entire league, that is really the thing that I think we have the most opportunity in. And at this point, it's just, we're a very small, scrappy team. It's my brother and I, a couple of people who work part-time, who've been with us for a very long time and are very dedicated, but are not even full-time on it.
Right.
And, a wider group of people who work for the matches, the events, and all of our team owners and players obviously have invested a lot. But it's very small. Bandwidth is not huge. And so we've got a lot of responsibilities now just to put on the matches and put on the quality of season that everyone is used to add in an entirely new product that we have to build from the ground up is difficult at this point. And that's kind of why, if we had been doing it along the way, I think it would have been easier.
Hmm. Have you thought about, I'm just kind of curious because it doesn't feel like necessarily connecting with a bunch of new players isn't particularly challenging. I mean, because you don't really have capacity to to make room for a bunch of new players. I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
many players are typically on a team, but um, what do you think? Have you ever thought, just because AI is something that's kind of intriguing to me, have you ever thought about how you could use, or maybe do you know enough about AI, how you could use it to grow the league?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question, there's about 12, between 12 and 18 players on a team.
Okay.
So they are fairly large teams. We've had about 150 players in the season up until now. Next year we'll be adding another, 30 to 40. So
Mm-hmm.
you're right. It's not a participation model. It's not like High Rocks where they've exploded in growth because they
Yeah.
have more people participating. For
Right.
us, we're much more like the UFC, where it's elite athletes. There's only a small group of people who are able
Okay.
to do this sport and play this sport, but the reach that we have is kind of unheard of in emerging sports. People want to watch
Mm-hmm.
this sport way more than
Right.
they want to play. And so that's something that we have to our advantage. Excuse me. But for the AI question, we've been using AI quite a bit in storytelling, in
Mm-hmm.
statistics, like kind of analyzing a lot of our stats,
Yeah. Yeah.
analyzing a lot of our players and getting more information about them out to the world and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, I'd say that we are integrating AI a bit,
From a,
um,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't like giving up control of things personally. And my brother, I know, uses AI way more than I do, but it's kind of like I don't know. I like doing the work of thinking about it for myself. I'll use AI to kind of get me started for sure.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's great for
that's
that.
kind of how my brain
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, I was thinking more, is there a way for you to use it to for growth? But it sounds like your growth right now is not so dependent on players as much as it is
Hmm.
like what if a sponsor came in and they were willing to fund you at a value more than you're valued now? Like,
Hmm.
how would that change things for you?
It would allow us to get more eyeballs on the sport and tell the story better. And that's the first thing that we're going to invest in
Hmm.
whenever, like this comes in, whether it's through
When,
our own revenue streams or
right.
through someone else seeing it. And
Yeah.
we are actually like, we've talked to sponsors about it. We've had some interest in people understanding where we're going. Wasn't right for, that year, but we're still
Hmm.
continuing the conversation. So it could happen next year.
Yeah.
Um, but it really is just about like, okay, if you see what we've done with basically bootstrapping the
Right.
entire thing, if you've seen what the kind of quality production that we're able to put on at fraction of the cost of what you'd expect if you're watching our live streams or if you follow us on
Hmm.
Instagram or TikTok. I mean, people are astounded at the amount of money that we spend, like what our budget is for the year or even for each day of live streaming. People are shocked. And it's just because we really, concentrate on the important things, and kind of like invest a little bit more every year in the thing that's going to be to us the highest leverage way of engaging more fans.
Hmm.
Um, and so if we were, able to kind of get in a large investment that's like, okay, let's blow you up. It's really about, let's get more editors in, let's get more cameras in, let's get more storytelling, let's be
Right.
able to really pump out the high quality story behind the sport so that people understand what they're watching. And then when they see it pop up on their algorithm, they're like, oh, right, I want to watch this because I saw this thing on this team and I really
Right.
liked that team. And so I want to see if they're going to win this match and things like that.
So if someone wants to watch a match,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know they're 4 year, but if they're or they want to watch games or learn more about
Mm-hmm.
the league, what should they do? Where should they go?
Our YouTube is United Grid League on YouTube, and we have a lot of content. We've got a bank of a couple years worth of matches, of live streams. We just
Okay.
wrapped up our 2025 live streams, and the championship match of the 2020, it was like it could not have been scripted better. It was so good. It came down to the last race. You're not going to know who won. It was amazing. And the lead changed in that last race. So like the person that started it was just so exciting. It was such an awesome sport. And my brother got interviewed right after, and he was like, "That's Grid League in a nutshell. Like that was it. That was exactly
That's
why this sport is
awesome.
so great." And
Yeah.
so everyone in the league is still kind of buzzing off of that energy, going into 2026, which feels like it should be tomorrow. We've still got an entire quarter left, but I'm like,
I
let's
was going
go
to say,
2026.
when does 26 get started?
I mean, yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're
And
working on season dates. We're working on, our 10th team.
okay.
We're working on trying to, what are we going to invest in next year? What are we going to elevate? Who are we going to work with partner wise? Things like that. So that hopefully by the time, typically we start our season in May.
Okay.
But we're like already in the, re-signing period for the teams. And then it's going to be the signing period and tryouts. And then it's going to be team practices and, training camps and things. And then in May next year, we'll get into the season. So there's always something happening. There's always like stories to tell about
Yeah.
all of the teams and what's going on.
Well, what a great community. I mean, I will tell you, I'm not even one that watches much sports, but now I'm going to go find that match.
You
I
have
feel
to
like
watch that
I
match
feel
for
like
sure.
I need to know what happens at
Oh,
the
it's so good.
end.
It's so good.
Well, what I like too is there are few enough players that you could really get to know the player. Like you could get familiar with them, and I think that alone,
Hmm.
when you know the players and get familiar with them, it makes you just want to. It makes you more loyal to it. It makes you really want
100%.
to follow it more.
100%. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, the
yeah,
Olympics does the personal stories
exactly.
behind,
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single sport. That is the secret sauce, is introducing
Hmm.
who your stars are. I mean, how much value did Caitlin Clark bring to the
Yeah,
WNBA by
right.
herself?
Yep.
Like you have that kind of breakout star that just
Hmm.
makes you care, and it's that
Yeah,
storyline, and it's some people hate her, but they're still
right.
watching now. Like, so
Exactly.
like, I mean,
Every
Michael
great
Jordan,
person, there's
clearly.
plenty of people that don't like them. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and it's also interesting. I mean, if you're into sports, it's so funny because I've never been a sports person ever. My brother
Oh,
is a
really?
huge sports
Okay.
person. My brother is
Yeah.
like, the fan of all fans kind of guy.
Uh-huh.
And I've always been like, nah, sports. I don't want to watch football. I don't want to hear baseball. And then I'm now working in sports, and I'm so into the like structure of it and the logistics behind it, because that's my
Right.
jam. And
Yep.
so, looking into how the NFL started and how the decisions that they made that make them such a huge entertainment property. Like, sure, it's the sport, but it's not just, there was a lot of
Right.
decisions that
Yeah.
went into making it as valuable as it is now. And looking at how, why basketball was so huge and now it's on the decline. And, why is that? And there's all these little
Hmm.
tiny decisions and things that are happening behind the scenes that you wouldn't think make the sport itself less entertaining, but that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just really interesting when you think about that, and kind of how do you bring up a sport from the very ground up. And the entire reason behind the sport is for it to be fun to watch. Like that was the
Hmm.
entire
Right.
purpose. All other sports were invented hundreds of years ago, and they were supposed to be fun to play. And then
Yeah.
they over time are like, well, but we need people to
Hmm.
watch them, so we need to make the rules that
Yeah.
are, get more points on the board and are more fun and entertaining. This is the only sport that I know of that was invented to be fun to watch. And so it's for today's modern attention spans. Each race is less than 5 minutes. I talked to
Okay.
somebody who was like,
Yeah.
I sat down. He was a guest of ours, and I've been talking to him for 10 years. And he was like, finally, I'm like, I'm gonna go watch one of these matches that you keep talking about. So he was at the match over the weekend, and he said, I sat down, and it was nonstop for 4 hours because we did two matches back to back. He was like, I saw you guys, like every single person was running their ass off, like, making sure these matches go on. But
Uh-huh.
it was entertainment after entertainment after entertainment. He's like, I was like gobsmacked at how fun it was and how excited I was. And I didn't know any of the players or any of the teams. And that's just the kind of feedback we
Yeah.
get. That was the whole purpose of the sport, is to like make sure people are entertained the entire time. And plus, they're hour and a half to 2 hours. It's not like a 4 hour, time commitment.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
all kind of like, produced to entertain today's sports fans, keep people in the real world, not in virtual
Right.
reality, or not on,
Yeah. Yeah.
gaming and things like that. And also it's exciting to use your fitness and watch people use what
Exactly.
their body was made to do,
Hmm.
and do it really, really fast. And, I'm getting off on the, on
No,
the
it's fantastic.
excitement of it.
You've gotten me way more excited about it. And what intrigues me is like that part is just there's so much energy there, but then which I'm sure you feel on a daily basis because then you have to like how do we treat this like a business so that we
Right.
can get it out to more people? We can continue to grow it. It's almost like two completely
It
opposite and
is.
sometimes,
It
slightly
is.
opposing things that have to happen to make this truly successful.
It's true. It's funny because our team owners are a very tight knit group. We meet regularly. They're very involved in the success of the league because
Hmm.
obviously the success of the league
Yeah,
means the success of their teams and vice versa.
right. Yeah,
And so we have these meetings that are usually both competition related and rules, and, how are we going to put the best product to make it the most fair and things like that. But then sometimes we have to all take a step back and be like, we've spent 20 minutes on something that is not in 5 years going to matter. Like, we need
uh,
to make sure
yeah.
that we are all focusing on how can we get this sport out to the world? How can we make
There
sure
you
that
go.
it, is a business that is bringing in the revenue in each team too? Like, how can each team make sure that they are sticking around for the long term so that
Yeah,
when the valuations rise, all of their hard work is worth it. So
yeah.
it is a balance. And sometimes we do get stuck in the weeds because it's like, but I care so much about this 2 seconds that
Yes,
happened on the grid and this one call affected my team. But they're all really, really good sports about
happens to
it.
us all.
And yeah, exactly.
And you and your brother are full time, and this is your thing. This is what you do.
Um, to be perfectly honest,
Uh,
it is what we do, but we actually still work our other
okay.
jobs in order to
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
until the league is where we need it to be.
Right. Yeah.
We're not gonna, take anything out that it can't sustain. And
It's
so,
pretty common. I mean, a
yeah.
lot of entrepreneurs they start and they for many years. I mean, I do multiple things, and one of them includes a full-time,
Mm-hmm.
physician job. So it's just, you do it for various reasons, but there's no shame in that. It just shows you that you are truly passionate about the league and making sure that you put everything in place to make it truly successful. Which you can tell you're extremely passionate about it, and that's what's cool. So much fun. I've so enjoyed chatting with you. I really appreciate you taking some time. I mean, been such a fun and I just love how energetic the conversation has been, and certainly makes me intrigued to go out and learn more. And what so the again to let's repeat
Mm-hmm.
the where people can go to find out more and learn more and watch the matches.
Yeah, you can watch our short form and get super entertained on Instagram and TikTok. It's United Grid League.
Okay.
And then on YouTube, United Grid League has all of our live streams and player features, behind the scenes kind of stuff. And definitely check out our website, sign up for our newsletter as well. We have, we only email when there's something to say. Like we don't have, a lot of
Yeah.
emails going out, so each one is
Hmm.
is important. And then we also have an insider list where we dive deep into the statistics and
Okay.
really kind of like tell the story better about the sport and how the nuances work and things like that. So those
Yeah,
are all options.
those people who really want to geek out over all the numbers and
There's so
stuff.
much to geek out over. It's funny because we've had a couple of people that were just sports fans and had like, their own podcasts about other,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
properties, and found Grid League and became so obsessed that like the vast majority of their content now is about following Grid League. One of them was from the UK, flew in for the championships.
Oh,
And
wow.
he came all the way over just so he could see grid matches live.
Uh-huh.
He also said, I cannot believe how different this is than watching online. I thought it was fun watching online.
Uh,
And then I
okay.
came to a match and was like, holy crap. But so like once you do figure out like what to geek out over, it's just a never ending well of fun stuff to think about and report on and get excited about. So yeah, it's been really fun to find more of those people, not just me and my brother.
Yeah, that's like it's real. Like your passion is real and people are feeling it. So
Yeah,
fantastic job. I mean, it'll be exciting to watch. I'm definitely gonna follow you guys and
definitely check it
see where you
out.
go from here. And I'm in Florida, so
Oh, there you
it's
go.
yeah. Yeah. All right,
Next
well
year,
stick
come
around
on
a
by.
second. We'll chat a little bit more. Thank you so much.
Thank you.